Hi, my name is Daphne. I hope you can hear me very well. This is my first day on YouTube, so I just thought I'd go live. It's my first time going live. And today we're looking at the problem, the origin of human problems. Yeah, we want to look at how did we get where we are, or what is the problem in our world today. And I really believe I'm a nurse by profession. And I really believe that to be able to treat any disease or any problem, first thing is to have a correct diagnosis of the disease. And then you can begin to think of solutions, what can be done, to relieve, to treat the condition. And we're looking at the world that we are today. It's a very turbulent world. Times are, I think the rate of unrest, the rate of wickedness, the rate of evil, the rate of abominable things that normally we would not speak about them. It's become commonplace in our society today. And I just thought I'm going to do something about it. And what I can do is to talk about it and throw light, and hopefully somebody out there can you know, listen and take it and do something with it. So, first of all, I'd like to say I'm Daphne Dixon, and this is my YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing live streaming whenever I can, once a week, twice a week, as I have something to share. But today we want to look at the origin of problem in our society today. And I want to say that I think the first thing that we need to look at is, for instance, I always say when you have a product, you want to know how does this product function, where is it made, what is it made for, and then you can rightfully use it. And then when it's also faulty, when there's a damage in the product, you know where to go for help or how to solve that problem. So I think one of the first things I will mention today in this video is that one of the problems in our world today is that we have forgotten our source, where we came from, how we got to be where we are. I know a lot of people kind of talk about the evolution theory and how that man has evolved from a monkey and that. And such thinking is part of the problem we have in our world today. I think if we, as human beings, would think and accept the fact that we are created beings, we have a source, and we have a definition. There is something that we are. So if you meet someone on the road and they say, "Who are you? What are you?" and they probably say, "I'm this, I'm that." But I'd like to say, the first thing I'd like to say when someone asks me, "Who are you?" is I say, "I'm a spirit. I'm a spirit being who lives in a body and who has a soul." I think that is the main thing we need to know if we are going to solve the problem in our world today. We are spirit beings who live in a body and we have a soul. So because we are spirit beings, that means we need to know where we come from. Well, how did we get here then to be in this body? And what is our history? When you know your history, when you know where you're coming from, then you can begin to understand your purpose. So I think when we understand that we are spirit beings, it will help us to, lay less and less importance on what happens in our body. It's like saying you have a house and you care so much for the house than for yourself. You say, "I don't have food to eat, I have no clothes to put on, but I'm going to make my house beautiful." No, you live in the house, but primary um you're of primary importance than the house. So I think most of us humans, we live for the body. We live to satisfy our bodily needs, and that is typically what animals are. Animals only live to satisfy their bodily needs. Say, for instance, they have a need for sleep, they have need for food, and they have need for sex, and they have need to look after their young. And so you see animals just living for that. They have to eat, and they will do anything to eat. They will kill to eat. They will sleep, whether it's on the road or wherever, they will sleep, and they can sleep. For instance, a lion can sleep for 20 hours a day, and they have to provide for their young. These are animalistic um, needs. They are just the basic needs of animals. But on this channel, I want to say that human beings are more than animals. We are more than just what we are, is more than just meeting needs of sex, of food, sleep, or shelter, and all that. We have a need of worship. We have a need of, we have like, for instance, you say, animal is religious. Every era, every stage, every time in the world, we hear that even in the Aborigines, in the times, in the Stone Age, man always sought to worship. So man always sought to have some kind of fellowship with a being that is terrestrial from their environment, a being that is outside of their reach. We have this knowledge that there is someone out there, or something out there that we have to please. That is what makes man different from animals. So I think when we first of all understand that we are spirit being, we begin to redirect our thoughts to say, if I'm a spirit being and I live in a body, what is my purpose? What was I made for? So I want to share on this page today that the main reason, I say it again, the primary reason why our world is the way it is today is because human beings, men and women, boys and girls, we live to satisfy our needs. And these needs, when we live and satisfy them outside of God's provision, outside of God's planned way, there are legitimate ways for us to meet our needs. Say, for instance, we have a need of sleep. We have a need for sex. God has made us that while we are in the earth, we have a body and we have need. But there are legitimate ways that God designed for us to meet these needs. And if you, first of all, accept that you are a spirit being and that you have a maker, because you are not an evolutionary being, you are a created being. If you accept that you are a spirit being that was created, and therefore you have a creator, I believe that you would begin to understand that anything you need to do with that body has to be in line with the creator, the person who has designed you, what he has stipulated, what his provisions for you, and how he wants you to live and meet those needs. Anything outside of that will bring chaos, because that being, which is us human beings, is functioning outside of the design, the original plan for our lives. So I'd like to say here that the problem in our world today, the chaos, the turbulence, the evil, is its origin is sin, wrongdoing, people doing wrong in meeting their need for sex, people doing wrong in meeting their need for food, people doing wrong in pursuit of their need for shelter, in pursuit for their need for comfort, people going, every evil that we do, every wrong, every temptation that people give into always offers a certain advantage. And I'll dare to say that often those advantages are forbidden advantages. So you have a need for sex, and you see a woman who is attractive, but that woman is not your wife. Now, the legitimate way, the creator's designed way to meet that need will be to have that in a secure relationship. But then when we go the opposite way, which is always the way of the devil, because I always say I have children, and I always say to my children, you see, there is no middle ground. Something is either green or something's either good or bad. There are no gray areas in life. So something's either for God or against God. Even Jesus said, if you are not with me, you are against me. If you don't gather with me, you are against me. So I'll say that Anything, any step, any action, any decision that people make, because we are created beings, we have a creator who has designed our lives, who has put out, guidelines for us to function. When we go an inch against that, we are creating chaos in our world. We are creating turbulence. We are creating harm and danger for ourselves and for others. So when someone, for instance, goes to steal, it's because he has a need. He has something he desires, something he wants to get. He forgets at that moment that he's a created being who has a creator that he answers to. But because he has lost a view of that picture, of that origin, that he is a being that was created, he takes the offer, the option, the temptation to go and take it by force, take it at the expense of another person, to steal it away. That way, the person is meeting a legitimate need, but in illegitimate ways, you see, and then it begins to grow and begins to add. So you see why we have, you just name it, any evil that's in the world is because people. Let's go back to Adam and Eve. Let's go back to the origin. Adam and Eve were in the garden. God gave them the freedom. It says, eat of any fruit in the garden, with the exception of one. So the tempter, which is the devil, he comes in and he says, God doesn't love you. Okay. He doesn't want you to be wise like him. He doesn't want you to have this beauty, this thing that's just a forbidden pleasure that he was promising them. And he says, if you eat it, you will be like God. And they ate of it because there was a forbidden pleasure that it promises. It's the same in our world today. Sometimes people say, "Oh, Adam and Eve. If I see them, look at the trouble in our world. They caused all this." No, that's past. We are repeating the cycle. We are repeating the same cycle, even worse, because Adam and Eve didn't have precedents. We have precedents, so we can look back and say, Adam and Eve did wrong, and then we suffered. So you know that when you do wrong, there is a suffering. Every action we take, everything we do, there is always, our actions are like seeds. You understand? They are not just, disappearing into thin air. Just they're like seeds. There's a scripture that says, as long as the earth remains, that seed time and harvest will not cease. So we continue to replicate the original sin that Adam committed, the treason against God. He believed a lie over truth. So I'd like to say here in this video that all the problems in the world put together is the sum total of unbelief. So unbelief is what I hope to tackle in this YouTube channel. Unbelief that there is a creator who made us. Unbelief that there is a God who is loving, infinitely loving. Unbelief in the goodness of God. To say that if God tells us not to do something, it's because he loves us. If God says to us, this is not the way to go, don't do this, don't do that, it's because he loves us. Nothing we do hurts God. I said to my children, when you do wrong, it doesn't hurt me. It's you it hurts. Unbelief is the reason why the world is the way it is. All our troubles, all the wars, all the evil, the rape, the murder, the hunger, the stealing, the stabbing, the killing, the prostitution, just name it. You just name it. Every form of evil, every form of wickedness, every form of wrong we see in our world today is because of unbelief. We fail to believe that God wants us to go a certain way because that way is good for us. He wants us to do things in a certain way because that's the best for us. Come on, think about it. What can we do for God? What can we do to improve Him? but he does everything for us. So the rules are for us. We're going to be sharing a lot of scriptures on this platform, but since it's the first one, I'm just laying the foundation on what we're going to be talking about. So we will pick a topic after the other. One topic, we'll deal it one at a time. We'll deal with it one at a time, and then I will share some scriptures. I'll put them in the comment section, and I'll also put them on the screen so you can see. But this is the first video I'm making. I want us to look at why we do things, why our world is in the way it is today. It's because of unbelief. Unbelief in the goodness of God. That if there are rules He wants us to go, obey, if there are ways He wants us to go, if there are things He doesn't want us to touch, if there are paths He doesn't want us to go, it's because it's good for us. So when we don't accept that truth, when we have unbelief, then we choose. He gives us a choice. So someone said to me the other day, if God is so wonderful, why didn't He just make everything so good? I said, then we'll be robots. When He made the stars, when He made the planets and everything, He made them to be like they function by inbuilt laws of nature, laws that are inbuilt in them, so they don't shift. Split seconds spinning around the sun, you name it, science, because that's how God made them. They don't have a will. They don't have the privilege of choice that we have. But we are moral agents. We have free will. I often look at it and say that is the biggest risk ever taken in the whole of humanity. God took a risk with us to give us a free will to choose. He gave us a free. He could have said to Adam, "You cannot." He could have made Adam in a way that Adam would not be able to eat that, but He gave him the choice and free will. But what that does is that it develops character. So every time you see something that is tempting, often temptation is something very appealing, and enticing. When you see something like that, when you say no, that is developing character. And that is what makes our world a better place. Temptation will always come. We have needs, all the things we desire, they will come in many beautiful colors. But being able to find out what is the truth, what does my maker want me to do? How does He want me to meet this need? When it comes to money, when it comes to health, when it comes to relationship, I'm just saying that the problem we have is unbelief. But we're going to talk about it and how we can retrace our steps, and walk towards making our lives more peaceful for us. It's for our good. Come on. If meet someone who's had a divorce, for instance, and ask them, how do you feel? Let's say the divorce is because there was infidelity in the marriage. Maybe the woman or the man gone out and been with another partner who was not their wife, and the other one gets upset. Okay, I don't want anymore. Ask them, what did you gain out of it? Go to prison and ask some of the inmates there, those who are incarcerated, and say, how does it feel? You're here. Temptation never really tells you, the outcome, the ultimate outcome, what you will get after, who will be impacted, how that your children will suffer, how that you will suffer, how that the world will suffer. If we know for sure the consequences of actions, we would think differently sometimes. We would do things differently. And I believe that the first thing to accept is that you are a spirit that was created, and therefore you have someone, a maker who you have to always fall back to survive. To survive. I love one of my teachers, I call him my teacher, Miles Monroe, of blessed memory. He always says that if you take the fish out of the water, the fish will die. We have to stay to our source. Our source is God. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's my first YouTube video. I'm really excited. I want to share a lot of things with here on YouTube. Feel free to leave your comments. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free to just say you're free. You have a freedom to say what you want. But I just hope that somebody somewhere is gonna really enjoy this video, and I hope to see you around. My name is Daphne, and see you around. Let's change the world one person at a time. Thank you. And come back for more. We'll share some more truth here. Bye.